As a factoring company, we get this question a lot. What do I do if a broker doesn't pay? While uncommon, sometimes brokers do underpay a carrier or refuse to pay altogether. Hi, I'm Caroline, your trucking business professor here at the Bobtail Help Desk. My mission is to help your trucking business thrive. If that sounds good to you, please subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on another video. Non-payment and underpayment can happen for many reasons, and it can be confusing to know what to do. So we're going to break down those reasons, what to do if they happen to you, and how to avoid it in the future. But before we begin, you can save a lot of time, money, and frustration by using a factoring service to help check the credit of brokers, invoice them, and get paid fast. If you want to learn more about factoring at Bobtail with no long-term contracts and no hidden fees, check out our website at bobtail.com. Okay, we're going to split this into two categories: underpayment and non-payment. Let's start with underpayment. When a broker pays you for a load, sometimes you receive less than what you were expecting to get. Here are some of the reasons that's the case. First is hidden service fees. Sometimes brokers charge you for invoicing, money codes, or other relatively small fees ranging from $2 to $25. Next is a failure in communication. Sometimes brokers set rules about when and how you should contact them to get paid for detention, accessorial fees, or tracking acceptance fees. Then there's missing receipts. Fleet managers know this struggle all too well. Receipts for paying fees can get lost. Even if you got a money code to pay for any fees, you still need to keep all your receipts and submit them to the broker for your full payment. And finally, missing details on the BOL. For example, in and out times on the bill of lading help prove that you were detained. If you don't have them, the broker can refuse to pay detention. In the case of underpayment, here are some steps that you can take to try and get paid what you're owed. First, if you're factoring, call your factoring company. Now, we can't speak for other factoring companies, but if you're factoring with Bobtail, you can call us anytime 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and talk to your dedicated customer support team. We can help you understand why the broker may have underpaid and give you some context before you get in touch with the broker. Next, call the broker. Give them the benefit of the doubt, especially if this is the first time it's happened. It could be that you forgot to include a receipt when you sent them the documentation, or maybe they just didn't see the receipt attached in an email and forgot to include it in processing. Then, if they continue to refuse to pay, you are within your rights to request any and all documentation about the load. Brokers, by law, have to keep all documentation on file for 3 years. Looking at all the documentation can help clear up any misunderstandings or miscommunications. Finally, if they still refuse to pay, you can consider filing a complaint with the FMCSA. At this point, you can kindly and professionally communicate to the broker that you plan on filing a complaint, and they may decide to reverse their own decision and pay you what you're owed in order to avoid any problems with the FMCSA. However, before you jump to reporting them, take a moment to see if it's really worth it to ruin your relationship with a broker over a non-payment. If you have a good enough relationship with this broker, you have a history with them, they're giving you a lot of loads, you may decide that it's just not worth it. On the other hand, if this is a pretty persistent problem with this broker and you don't want to work with them anymore anyway, it's probably worth the risk to file a complaint. But of course, the best thing you can do is avoid underpayments altogether. So here are some steps that you can use to avoid that situation in the future. First, read your rate cons and contracts carefully to note any additional fees or rules about getting accessorial fees paid. Next, make a habit of confirming everything by phone and email. This ensures prompt communication as well as a paper trail for all agreements you make with the broker. Finally, ask for an updated rate confirmation with anything that's changed in your agreement. This one may be a bit tricky, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Okay, let's talk about non-payment. While it is rare, a broker may refuse to pay a carrier altogether for a load. So this is what you can do if it happens to you. First, contact the broker. Again, give them the benefit of the doubt. Everybody makes mistakes, both on the carrier and broker side, and it may just be an issue of not having enough information to process your invoice. However, if you're watching this video, chances are you've already tried to contact the broker multiple times. So if they're not picking up the phone or they're just refusing to pay you, then it's time to file a complaint. The FMCSA National Consumer Complaint Database allows carriers to file complaints against brokers who haven't paid them. This will give you another piece of evidence that you are taking action against this broker and can bolster a collections case. Next, you can file on the broker's surety bond. Brokers are required by the FMCSA to hold a $75,000 surety bond. We have a tutorial on how to find a broker's surety bond using their MC number in the blog that I wrote for our website. Go check that out, it's linked in the description below. You're going to call the insurance carrier listed on the table where you find the surety bond, give them the policy or surety number, and ask to file a claim on that bond. You're going to have to provide all of the evidence and paperwork for the load, including BOLs with signatures from both the shipper and receiver, rate confirmation, and any other information you have. The more documentation you can provide for the load, the better. If you're unable to file a claim on the broker's surety bond, you can also look into hiring a collections agency. They will usually charge between 15 and 30% of whatever is recovered, but it may be worth it to your business if you can get at least some of that money that you're owed. Finally, if you believe you've been the victim of fraud, report the case immediately to the USDOT Inspector General. Pause now to see their full contact information. We'll also link everything in the description below. And here are some steps that you can use in the future to avoid non-payment. First, do your due diligence on any new brokers before you book loads. Look them up in Safer to make sure that the contact information that you're seeing on the load board matches the contact information that they have listed for their company. Also, make sure you check their credit rating. Some load boards have this information, but if you factor with Bobtail, you'll get a free feature on our app to check any broker's credit rating and whether or not Bobtail will factor the invoice. And please be on the lookout for these red flags. First is a generic email address, something like Gmail, Hotmail, or Yahoo. Next is incomplete information or unresponsive or poor communication from the broker. Also, any unusual information, particularly around pickup and drop-off instructions or on the rate con or other documentation, is a red flag. Also, if the broker avoids sending you the rate con, that should set off an alarm. And finally, a rate that's too good to be true, unfortunately, usually is. Unfortunately, issues with payments is a common problem for every business owner, and they can be frustrating to deal with. The important thing is to learn from your mistakes and try working with the most reputable brokers that you can. Better yet, work with a factoring company that will help you weed out bad brokers. At Bobtail, our hassle-free factoring service allows you to check credit scores on brokers for free, making sure that you're doing business with the brokers that are going to pay on time. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more trucking business knowledge. Also, remember that our Bobtail Help Desk Facebook group is a great place to get your trucking business questions answered. And I'll see you in the next video.